Andre Onana's two howlers, coupled with the general poor display of Man United, gifted Brighton a win at Old Trafford. It is the sixth loss for Man United this season at home, their worst start in over 120 years. This is unacceptable. In fact, Ruben Amorim was right to say this could be the worst Man United squad in history. But as we look back at what happened, what solutions we could come up with going forward, in this video, I'm here to take you on a trip down memory lane to Fabian Barthez, one of the most eccentric goalkeepers in the history of Man United, and why there are some similarities between him and Andre Onana, and Onana might not be happy about such a comparison. Welcome to the United of Sport. Like, share, and subscribe, and let's get into it. Now, guys, 2000 was the year that Sir Alex Ferguson finally got his preferred replacement for Peter Schmeichel, who had left Man United, but his immediate replacement, Mark Bosnich, was not really good enough, and Ferguson really wanted a top goalkeeper to replace the top Peter Schmeichel. Now, after impressive performances at France 98 and in the Euros in 2000, Fabian Barthez was clearly the guy. Of course, he was known for his eccentric nature. He was totally unconventional and different, but a decent goalkeeper in him. And Sir Alex Ferguson said, you know what, I'll take a gamble on this guy. Paid nearly £8 million to Monaco for him to land from the hot Monaco to the cold Manchester. And the story began. So, first season for Barthez was impressive. Of course, there were elements of his antics. You know, he loved taking risks. Like the Onana kept telling us at the start of the season that he would keep taking risks. I mean, Barthez was the king of taking risks. We are talking of a goalkeeper who would get the ball and dribble through midfielders and defenders and try to swing in a cross for a goal. He was so confident, left-footed. He was full of himself. But at times, these risks were a little too much, and you clearly saw that they could cost the team eventually. In fact, I do recall at one point, Sir Alex Ferguson warned and said he will eventually be figured out. But let me take you back again. So, first season looks so impressive. Many of his saves were the reason Man United were so good that season, so competitive and winning titles for fun. And same thing with Andre Onana. His saves, I've said it here, are the reason Man United, partly or largely, the reason Man United is not in relegation yet. But again, we have seen so many signs of jitters and signs of errors that perhaps could be avoided, giving away unnecessary goals like we saw in that Brighton game. Now, going back to Fabian Barthez, brilliant first season, but in the same first season, his first season 2001, United is ejected out of the FA Cup at the fourth round by West Ham. That game ended 1-0. That goal was a proper result of Fabian Barthez's antics that went wrong. It was Paolo Di Canio given a through ball. He beats the offside trap of Man United, Jaap Stam and the team, Gary Neville and the team. And instead of Fabian Barthez coming to first go into a tackle, because he could have easily come and closed Di Canio and avoided the goal, because the ball was at an angle away from the goal. You know, the attack, Di Canio was at an angle away from the goal. And Barthez could have easily just come and closed him, and of course have his defenders come and either cover him in the goal or stuff. But he chose to keep standing and keep putting his hand up, hoping for an offside to be given instead of first, reacting. Di Canio, was smart, like any sharp striker. First said, let's score the goal and they can recall it. So Di Canio proceeds, puts the goal past Barthez, who eventually late tried to react, but it was too late. It's a goal, and Man United is ejected out of the FA Cup. The following season, he got away with that because, like I said, largely he had made a lot of saves that saved Man United. Now, the following season, first there's a Champions League game, I forget the team, I think Deportivo or something, that beat Man United 3-2. And it was his errors that gifted Deportivo, I think it should be, Deportivo La Coruña, that victory. I think it was the first time I was learning to pronounce that name, I recall. It gifted them a 3-2 win at Old Trafford. Then A few weeks later, Man United is playing Arsenal at Highbury. And if you are there around the time, if you're in your mid-30s or older, you know how important trips at Highbury were for Man United. United goes out there, plays against Arsenal, and two late errors from Barthez gifted his national teammate Thierry Henry 2 goals for Man United to lose 3-1. One, he was trying to clear a ball, mishit it, and it landed on the right foot of Thierry Henry, who easily slotted home. The other, nearly the same mistake that Onana made against for the third goal. He goes into it was not even a major threat. He goes into he dives into a ball and he fails to control the ball proper. It just slips out of his hands, and Thierry Henry is next to him, just picks it for himself, says merci, and slots home, and Arsenal win 3-1. Now, Sir Alex Ferguson had just warned him a few weeks before, I think after the Deportivo Howlers, that he will soon be figured out. Now, this is where the pressure mounted on Barthez. It started mounting on him. His antics had become an issue. There is one he did, I think, against Leeds United. But he would make such errors out of risks in the middle of brilliant world-class saves. There is a bullet, a screamer that Jetman Hammond could have scored. United was playing Liverpool. But what a dive and what a save it was from Barthez. So there were things that he would do. Then there are his penalty antics, if you recall, he was known a lot for them, where he would concede a penalty, United would concede a penalty, and he would first, refuse to go in goal and stand on the pole and knock on the pole, touch it, and then eventually, after getting a yellow card, he would stand in goal. But sometimes they would work, because he saved, I think, 2 or 3 penalties that way. So the antics would work at times because, again, we knew he was eccentric when United signed him. But they really cost United in certain games. Now, there are coaches who can tolerate that, because Sir Alex Ferguson should have perhaps let go of Fabian Barthez after, I think, midway his second season. Because the first half of his second season at United was terrible. But the second half, I think he got the pressure and started, I think, trying to sober up a bit. He could have got rid of him, but he stood by him, he backed him, because all managers want to back the players they have signed. Now, he sort of backed him, and he said he stayed at United for about 4 years. But the thing is, in this modern game, the scrutiny you get, the way Andre Onana is getting scrutiny from social media and stuff, you may not have the luxury of making so many risks and getting away with them, because they will destroy. You can imagine if Barthez was living in these times where social media is as, big as it is, he wouldn't have lasted 4 years at Man United. Halfway or after his second season, because that's where people got enough of him, especially the first half of the second season, trust you me, he would have been sold. 2001, 2002, that's the season. He would have been sold or let go of immediately. But Sir Alex Ferguson backed him before eventually he dropped him, I think, after Howlers against Madrid. I think that was the last game Barthez played for Man United, gifting R9. How do you start playing antics against R9? An easy goal on the near post. Ferguson had enough of him, and Roy Carroll took his place. Imagine, just like that. I will tell you, Andre Onana is nearly in the same boat. And for Andre Onana, it's not even that, it's Amorim who signed him. I'm talking Barthez, who was signed by Sir Alex Ferguson himself. Onana was signed against the will of many people, because people are still thinking, how is Man United letting go of David De Gea, who was the season before the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, won the Golden Glove. So Andre Onana comes in there, struggles the way he did, makes some good saves to show at his, but he's conceding very easy goals in a season where he's saying too much, telling us he's going to make more risks, failing to do the things that defined him, being ball playing and starting plays, starting attacks for Man United. I will tell you, that could have been the game, because Amorim was mad, and it's wrong to scapegoat him. Don't get it twisted. This video is just focusing on Onana, but it's not him alone. But I'm just focusing on his howlers, but also the fact that we've seen someone like him before at Man United. My highlight was to compare Onana with Fabian Barthez, to show you that eventually, when they figure you out, you're gone. After that, when he left Man United, Barthez ended up at Marseille. And his story never, seemed good again. Usually, when a goalkeeper is destroyed, when you play at a top club and you make mistakes like that the entire world sees, big clubs will fear to come for you. A footballer might be lucky. You can play at a top club, you don't play well, and look at Rashford. He's linked with Dortmund, Barcelona, AC Milan. An outfield player, it's different. But for a goalkeeper, you make such mistakes, no club will have the confidence to go for you because you are a top club. Even lesser clubs close to your big club, clubs close to Man United, will not take on Onana. If Onana is let go of by Amorim, he will be gone. I will tell you, he will end up in a small club and live regretting for the rest of his life. Why? Just because of trying to be eccentric and running away from the basics. You don't concede direct corners. You can't be jittery in set pieces. He looks big. I mean, I think he weighs about 95 kgs probably. Over 90. The guy looks big. A goalkeeper should be, small and flexible. But the guy is looks heavy. He's always, playing for the gallery. He's so animated. I mean, it's just and it's just him. He's so full of himself. You cannot play like that in this day and era. The public will destroy you. And the fact that for a goalkeeper, any single error you make is always going to result in a goal. It's always going to be so hard on you. You just want to play safe. But Onana seems to feel like he's on top of the world because he's probably the most talked about player at Man United. But guys, his days might be numbered. Altel Baindil might be the guy who United will look up to for the remainder of the season. Don't you be surprised if that happens. My name is Webb. This is the United of Sport. Like, share, and subscribe, and let me catch you later.